Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Lewis Caballero, and I'm here with Sandy Orlando. We are your two co-race directors for the upcoming Georgina Spring Fling Marathon, Half Marathon, 10K, and 5K. And with us today is Dan Pollard from 93.7 K Country. So Sandy's going to ask Dan a bunch of questions about his experience with the race. He's been part of it with us since its inception. So take it away, Sandy.
Sure. And thanks, Dan, for taking the time out of your schedule to do this with us.
Oh, no problem at all. Is this like 60 minutes? Like you're going to catch me something I did 12 years ago or something?
No, we don't have any video B-rolls.
Yeah, thank goodness it wasn't social media back when I was in high school. That's all I can say.
We're all safe. So you, as Cindy said, you've been with us since the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your experience so far.
Well, it's interesting to be on the ground floor of events like this. Our radio station opened during COVID, so we didn't have a chance to go out into public. And I think you guys were one of the first real big events that we had a chance to be part of. And it was interesting to see how people interacted with each other because they hadn't been really social because of COVID, and to watch the race itself grow. And to watch how you guys come together and how you guys listen and go, well, you know what, next year, why don't we try that or this? And all I know is in talking to the runners last year, they said, and they usually had run a bunch of races around the province. They said it was so well organized and they could go about, do what they wanted to do, which was run the race and enjoy themselves after. And a lot of them stuck around to cheer on other runners, whether it was the marathon or any other race as well. And that's something that's really been something that I picked up on over the last couple of years, and it's been a great event. And to watch it grow so much to the fact that last year you guys said stop talking about it, we're all sold out, we can't get any more runners. Hopefully we're bigger next year, but we can't handle any more this year. So it's great to watch you guys grow.
Oh, that's great. And we've been having a lot of fun with it as well, also from having started during COVID. So we certainly appreciate that perspective for sure. You do a live broadcast from the park. We've had that happening on a couple times. And one of the things that you've mentioned is wanting to share some stories. So we'd like to be able to reach out to some of our runners to share their stories. But tell us what kind of things you'd like to talk to them about.
Well, I was at wasn't the last run. I think it was the Spring Fling last year where you had somebody running barefoot, and I think they set a world record for running the 5K. Was it or 10K?
That was half marathon, wasn't it?
Was it the half? Yeah, I know it was crazy. I just couldn't remember how far it was crazy. But yeah, that there's an interesting story. So my role in the morning is letting people know, because sometimes people don't know what's going on at the park or what's going on over in that area of the town. So local people going, oh, and some will come by and see the race. Also traffic. Hey, stay away from Lake Drive. It's really busy. Yes, there's one lane open, but it really is for emergency traffic. And just to give a heads up on that. But then it's the stories. It's the runners. And it was a few years ago, you had an elderly gentleman running, I think it was the half marathon, and he had run a number of different marathons, but he was in the Chrétien government. So he had this incredible history, and he had run all around North America. And to hear his story, why are you here? Well, because I love running and it looks like such a beautiful spot. So those are the kinds of stories I love to hear. Or someone who's a young runner last year we were talking about, and this was his warm up because he was going to compete, provincially at the collegiate level, and he was off to train. But what a great run, and how good he feels, and his family supporting him, and how they've supported him through high school and now at the collegiate level as well. So those are the kinds of stories, if we can pick up on, it's great to get out there to the general public, who some wonder why these people doing it, right? Because, if you're not a runner, you may not understand that. I'm a former runner, so I get it. I get that feeling of getting out there and getting that emotional high and setting yourself a challenge and being able to make it. And in the end of going, oh yeah. And I get to see those faces.
Oh yeah. And from Cindy and our perspective, we catch at the finish line, which is a really unique honor for us because we get to see so many different emotions coming across that finish line. People who have just accomplished their first marathon, people who have gotten their Boston qualifier, somebody who's just run their first 5K. And collapsing into our arms and, sometimes crying, or it's really a spectacular thing. And then when you get to talk to them and ask them more about it, then that's really, I think it makes them feel good as well. To be able to do that and share their story.
Well, let me tell you, the way you guys have it organized, and most races now do have the announcer on site announcing the names. So my girlfriend ran in the spring last year, and she doesn't generally run anymore, but once in a while she did train for the 5K, did well. But she said she came around, and as she came around, she heard her name. And so she thought, I've got to kick it into another gear. So she did. And she came and I'm going to videotape this. And she went right by me and behind the trailer. And I'm going, what's going on? And she said, I just winded myself. And I was afraid I was going to throw up or something like that, because she goes, I heard my name, so I thought I better even do better. And, and sometimes it's those challenges and things. And we laugh about it now. But I still have a videotape of her running towards me. And then I realized, she's just going to go past me. So there's a good story for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. That happens a lot. So we'll ask people on social media to come out and share stories. But you'll also be in the park at the Spring Fling, broadcasting. But you'll also be working with Teresa doing the awards ceremony and out at that area. So we really encourage people to come by and say hello and just hang out and listen, because I think it's great fun to share those stories for sure.
Yeah, and stick around for the medals as well, because that support you talked about, people hear their names, the family, the friends, and even other runners. I think that's a big motivating factor for other runners, to see somebody who's run a marathon or half a marathon, or they've run the 5K and they're still sticking around to see your race. It means a lot, because it's not a familiar face, yet you're being cheered on.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of run teams who come out and put up their tents. We encourage them to have a tent city and encourage each other, so in run clubs or whatever. And that gets an awful lot of folks out, and as well, volunteers, as well as people there to cheer and to race. From the perspective of the town of Georgina, we understand that that's kind of a big deal. Do you have any insights on that?
Well, yeah, it is, because you talk about those numbers. And I remember the first time asking you last year, what kind of your numbers? And what? That many people in one day are coming to the area? And then talking to people after, and if they haven't been before, well, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like, how long has this been here? Well, for a long, long time.
Yeah.
You just haven't been up north of, Ravenshoe or Davis Drive. And then they see this and they, wow, what a gem it is up here. And some will go through Sutton and Keswick. Well, you guys have all these stores. And then through Sutton. And what a beautiful little cottage-like town. And for those who don't know, the town of Georgina, which is an amalgamation now of a number of small towns, but this was the original cottage country. People from Toronto originally came here, and Metro Road, where De La Salle Park is off of, that originally was a rail bed, and there was a streetcar that ran from Toronto all the way up here. So people from Toronto would come up here and swim in the Lake Simcoe, the healing waters, as they called it. And so this became the first cottage country, and that's where the basis of the whole area is. And that's why you still see some of the small cottages around.
Small cottages, plus some of the new money that's come up, and some.
There's a few big places here. Yes, there may be a few famous people. Actually, there's a famous pop star who has a place, which I'm not allowed to say.
Okay.
But her name might be Avril. That's just.
Well, maybe. Well, we might have to keep an eye on Avril.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you where she lives. So.
Maybe she'll be running on the road on May 5th with us.
Yeah, she may be booking out of town if she's not running. Yeah.
For sure, hopefully. So one of our challenges, of course, is to get enough volunteers, because no race these days can go without having volunteers to keep things safe and to get the work done, but also just to keep everybody cheering and happy and excited about being there and supporting the whole thing from the community. Now, we tend to bring in an awful lot of our running friends and running groups, but we really are trying to encourage more people from the area to come out and participate as well. So we have you help us out with that in terms of calling out for volunteers.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that, for any high school students, you have to have your volunteer hours. And I don't know how many times I've talked to parents and they say, my kid didn't get enough, or you're getting close and I want to get that done. You guys will sign off on that as well, will you not? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for a high school student to get those hours, but also the local organizations, if they can get together, it's a great way to give back to the runners, but also to the town.
Absolutely. And so we rely on you to sort of get that message out for us, which is great. Is there anything else about the race that you would like us to know?
No, I don't think so. It's a great opportunity. I wish I was more of a runner like I was years ago, because I look at that opportunity and a flat run, and to be a Boston qualifier, that blew me away. The first time I ever heard that was, wow, really? Are you serious? Like, this is a Boston qualifier. And it's a great training ground, certainly in the spring, but by the fall, you've probably been running for a while. And I think you might get more collegiate, athletes who are getting ready for the running season that come out. And then anybody who does want to qualify for Boston, that opportunity to do that here in a beautiful vista.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the things that we say about the race is this, because it's the same course in the Spring Fling and the Georgina Marathon on September 8th. It's a good way to test your benchmark yourself and know how you did in the spring versus the fall. And if you missed that spring qualifier, you've got the fall qualifier at the end of the season, which is just before the window that closes. So that's always a draw for people. So we're hoping that the Georgina Marathon also draws out an awful lot of people as well. And also local sponsors. I mean, we've been working in the community, trying to bring in some of the local businesses to showcase them. And it's always a challenge to make the connection for folks who maybe don't really understand what the value is. But with having all of the people coming from, well, all over Ontario, sometimes beyond, really presents an opportunity for a growing city like Georgina, or I guess it's a town, isn't it, Georgina?
Yeah. But yeah, it feels like a city in some ways sometimes, but certainly during weekends when people come up here. But, again, we go back to the location where it is. And wait a minute, on another weekend, I could come up here and use the beach, and that kind of thing. And that tie in with local business, because then they come back, they use the beach. Hey, where do we go for lunch? We could do a little bit of shopping here as well. So there's a great tie in with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Well, we really appreciate your helping us out and promoting us and doing all of your announcing and being at the park. Cindy, is there anything that we should cover off in terms of volunteers if Dan's going to be doing a call out?
I just wondered if I missed, did you let people know that they're going to be out on the course playing music as well?
That's right.
That's also very exciting.
We send my boss.
You don't get to see it.
We send my boss, the guy who owns the radio station. He plays the music out at the turnaround. So
yeah, and people love that. That's great feedback. It gives them that extra burst of energy that they need at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see Dan's boss, Ed, out there with the truck blaring music and motivating you guys along. And I think he also does a little bit of volunteering at that aid station out there.
Yeah, and don't say anything, but I don't mind being in the park, because I think he comes back, he's all wet because he's handing out the glasses of water. So.
And you're famous because everyone sees you and talks to you.
I just stay dry. I'm back at the park. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you coming on and being on board with us for this last bunch of years. And as for everybody watching, like Sandy said earlier, come and run. If you're looking to run a race, come and run. If you're not running, then come out and volunteer. So there's all kinds of different volunteer positions. There's parking marshals, course marshals out on the road, making sure that everybody stays safe from the vehicles, water stations, finish line, start line, race kit pickup, anything you need to make a race run smoothly. So the easiest way to get in touch with us, if you do want to volunteer, is you can just email us. You can email us at georginamarathon@gmail.com, and we'll send you out the link to sign up as a volunteer. And if you don't want to do either of those, come on out and cheer for all the runners on May 5th, running down Lake Drive. We look forward to seeing you all out there. It's just about 3 weeks away.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thanks
But
so
then
much.
it'll be 80 degrees, so we're good.
Maybe
Actually,
not
it's too hot for a
too
runner. I remember running.
Yeah.
It's too hot for a runner.
It's going to be 13 degrees.
Perfect running weather.
No rain, no wind.
Nope.
It always works when I ask for that.
Put in our order. Tell your weather guys.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you soon.